In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I like to edit dramatic fog photos when doing landscape photography with my Nikon D750. On this particular morning, I had what could only be described as a landscape photographer's dream shoot. There was incredible colour under the clouds as the sun came up, then came the stunning light patterns that fell across the landscape, but the thing that really blew me away was when the fog started to roll in and interweave between the trees and the mountains. Oh man, what a morning that was. I had both my cameras firing away. I had the Nikon D750 in my hands with the 80-400mm lens, and it didn't matter which way I turned, every framing that I got was just gold. Okay, so here's the raw shot out of the Nikon D750 from that morning that we're going to be working on in both Lightroom and Photoshop. I'm going to be going for a really dramatic contrast and grainy look. Let's rip into it. So we're going to be starting off with this shot in Lightroom Classic. The settings on this shot were ISO 250, I was at 400mm, f8, and I was at 1/200th of a second. So I was handheld, I had VR on, and I saw this cloud or fog moving into the mountain opposite me, and the fog or cloud was drifting through these trees, and it just looked absolutely amazing. So I fired off this shot very quickly because literally within 5 to 10 minutes, this shot was no longer. That cloud or mist had moved on. All right, so first of all, what we're gonna do is, you can see it's quite underexposed. So we're gonna lift up that exposure just to get it up to roughly about like so. Now with contrast, we're gonna add a little bit of contrast here. Something about 20, 19 or 20, that'll do. Now with the whites, I'm just gonna lift those whites up a bit because I just want that mist or cloud, fog to stand out a little bit better. You'll probably notice when I did adjust that contrast, it actually made those trees stand out a little bit better. You can see those trees are coming out from the fog and standing out a little bit better. I actually want that. So what I should have done at the very beginning, I should have gone down to this lens corrections and ticked both of those just to make sure that we get any sort of chromatic aberration and all the profile corrections were put in place. So let's just go back up to where we've got our basic tools. Now this is where one of these particular sliders comes in very handy. I like to use the dehaze quite heavily because you'll see what happens when I adjust that. It kind of like cuts. Ooh, that's a bit too much. It cuts through the fog just a tad, and we can see the trees a little bit better. But we don't want to lose the fog altogether. We still want the fog there. So let's leave that at say about 20. That's pretty cool. I'm actually going to introduce some grain or noise into the shot. So we just scroll down here on Lightroom Classic, and down the bottom there we've got grain. I know it's crazy. A lot of people normally are removing noise from the shot. With this particular thing, and to add the dramatic effect, I like to add grain. So we push the grain up to say at about 15, and what I'll do is I'll just push in on that tree because I want to see like these little type of dots of noise. Let's just get that up to about 30 in the terms of size. Yeah, see, you can see it's getting very grainy. I want that. Now the roughness, I'm actually going to leave, actually the roughness is pretty good there at 50. I'm going to leave it there. To add a dramatic effect, I like to turn the whole image to black and white. You can just simply click up the very top here to black and white, and it just drops everything down into black and white. So let's just zoom out and fit the screen again. Now you can see it's really starting to take shape. You've got that really beautiful dehaze working there, and it's cutting through the mist, and we can just see the outline of those trees sticking through. So the next thing what I want to do is I want to crop this. Now I'm going to make this into a 16:9 image. The reason why is because you're watching on YouTube, and YouTube is 16:9, so I'd rather use the whole real estate of that screen and show off the shot that way. Maybe you're using it for Instagram and you want to crop it a different way, but just for this exercise, I'm going to make it 16:9. To do that, you just come up here and click on the crop tool, and over where it says original, click on that and you'll see 16:9. So turn it into 16:9. Now at the top of the shot, we've got a bit of sky. I actually don't want to see that. What I'm going to do is crop right in. And all I want is just that fog and those trees to be standing out. So I'm just going to tighten in a little bit more. Oh, that is way too much, Adrian. What were you thinking? I seriously have got to upgrade my computer, guys. It's getting a little bit old now. So that's looking pretty good about there. We just hit return, enter. Okay, let me just go to full screen and let me show you what that looks like. That's looking pretty cool. But we're actually going to get that a little bit better yet. So we'll just escape out of there. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to send that on over to Photoshop. So we just go up to Photo here and we go to Edit in Adobe Photoshop 2023. Now what I'm going to do with this shot, actually, you know what? I'm still not quite happy with the crop of this. I'm just going to crop it in just a little bit more. Yeah, about there. I still want to see that top. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's now go up to where it says image. We're going to adjustments and we're going to go to curves. This is where we're really going to make this cloud and these trees pop. I'm going to drop the darks down, crush those down a bit, but watch what I do up the top here. I'm grabbing it, I'm going to make this nice S curve. Look, when I'm lifting up these highlights, all of a sudden now we're getting that beautiful ghost-like effect. Now the grain from Lightroom Classic is really starting to stand out here now too on that tree. You can see it's quite mystical. The whole image feels that way. So if we go to something like about there, we just get that nice bit of an S curve happening. And we'll go okay. All right, that's looking pretty cool. Let's just have a look at that full screen. I'm just being a bit picky here. I'm just having a look through and I like to do some of this. Now you'll see down the very bottom, when I look at this image, I really want people's eyes to be going towards the mist and the trees. But there's just this one little thing down the bottom. It's kind of like, it's probably a dead branch, I'd say. I'm going to actually get rid of that with the spot healing brush. So if you just come down the bottom here, this spot right here, and it's history. It is gone. Let's go back to full screen. And let me have a look at that. See, this is the thing, you know, a lot of people are trying to get rid of noise in their shots. They're denoising things. This type of effect, when you're adding grain and noise, I think it enhances the drama of the shot. So you tell me what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Or let's just give it a nice little white border framing around the outside edge. So we just do that, go to stroke, and let's make it, say, that's way too much, Adrian. What are you doing? Let's go to about 70. It's not only got that drama type look to it, you know, using that dehaze slider, you can cut through the glare, but you don't want to cut through it too much. You still want to see that type of ghost-like effect over top of the trees. So with that fog or mist drifting through the trees, you've got the trees standing out now. The eye is drawn mainly to that large tree, but also towards the top of the screen as well. You can see that little bit of a background to the mountain. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So that's the way I like to edit dramatic fog photos. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and it's helped you out. Never stop creating, and I'll see you next time.